Hi, I'm Bob Holcomb from Apex Automotive in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. Today we're going to discuss how to remove hydraulic brakes. In particular, this hydraulic brake cylinder, these brake pads, and this brake rotor. We're going to start by removing the brake caliper slide bolts, or attaching bolts, which are located here in the back. The bolts are held on with a T45 torque socket. You want to be careful to look in there to make sure you get the right size torque socket. If you put the wrong size or an Allen key in that Torx bolt, you can strip it out and then you're in for a world of trouble. I want to be sure that the tool is in securely all the way and nice and straight to the bolt I'm trying to remove. So with the tool in the reverse position, I can see that this bolt comes right out. Now that I've loosened the bolts that hold the caliper in place, I'm going to take a pry bar and push the piston back into the caliper. I'm going to grab the outer portion of the rotor and push against the outer portion of the caliper in between the pad and the rotor. I just catch the corner of the rotor and slowly pull the caliper out, and as you can see, the piston is working its way into the caliper. Then I push the caliper back, I slide my caliper holding bolts out. This particular caliper design has an anti-rattle spring to hold the caliper in place. We'll pop that out of the way. Now I've removed my bolts, I've removed my spring, the brake pads and caliper are just sitting on the slide. As I pull the caliper off of the slides, I'll be careful not to drop the brake pads. And I really don't want to hang the caliper by the brake hose. So I'll just stuff it up here on the lower control arm. The next step is to remove this caliper bracket. I'm going to use a 15mm 6-point shallow socket to get the most amount of energy onto the bolt. I'm going to use a longer than normal 3/8 drive ratchet, as I'm going to need a little bit of energy to pop these off of here. Sometimes you can just give it a good whack and it'll free right up. You want to be careful when you're pushing on these ratchets not to hold your hands closed, as you may hit something if it slips and you'll break your knuckles. So I always like to just give it a little tap and it loosens right up. Now that I have the bolts loose, I'll use an electric impact. Since there's only one bolt holding the bracket, I'm going to hold on to the bracket and let the socket catch the bolt. There's only one thing left to do, and that's remove the brake rotor from the hub. I'm going to need to remove this alignment pin and nut. It holds the brake rotor onto the hub. The only thing holding my rotor onto the hub is this guide pin and centering bolt. I'm going to remove this with my electric impact. There shouldn't be a lot of tension on this bolt, as it doesn't need to be tight. It's just there to guide the rotor onto the hub. I'm going to be careful to hold onto the rotor, as there's nothing holding it onto the hub at this point. And this is how you remove a hydraulic braking system from most automobiles. I'm Bob Holcomb from Apex Automotive in Great Barrington, Massachusetts.